Average Anglers, welcome to another Average Angler video. I've just purchased second hand this old, one of the first generations of Absolute Preston boxes, and obviously this is the box that I've been using before. A very old on box, it's nearly 20 years old, and Average Angler being the Average Angler, rather than going out and buy a new one, we've bought a second hand one, which is only probably 10 years old, 8 or 10 years old, some of these are. And I managed to pick it up for 150 quid, so there are bargains out there. It's in reasonably good conditions. The only thing I've found is I'm missing a couple of clips on the tray at the bottom, which I was told when I bought it. The person that owned it before has been using those clips as spares for those clips. That's not going to be a big deal, not a problem for me to sort that out. Everything else seems to be in working order. It's had a good jet wash down by the person that had it before, but it really wants I'm going to take it apart, strip it all right down to its individual bits and just clean the whole thing, put it back together. I was worried that I might have to, I was worried that this storage space at the bottom of this box, where I keep a lot of stuff, I wouldn't be able to keep all of that stuff, but this midsection here's got that in it, so that's cool. And then I was like, oh well, I've got my two drawers and all my side drawers. Well, my side drawers really only have hook lengths and rigs in them. These two side drawers, there's a deep drawer that runs across the whole of this box, which would take up all of everything that's in those two drawers, no problem at all, because it's as big as those two drawers combined. But also, I might have actually put the pin in so it won't do it. Yeah, so this here also is you press it and it pops out. There's a little pin to stop it doing it by accident when you're travelling, and that's an extra drawer as well. So I've got more storage in this box. I feel like I've got more storage than I had in that box, even though that's got the three drawers. It's got obviously the space underneath the top, so is this, but it's also got the facility at the top there to hold the old school hook length boxes, which is what I still use. And that's the drawer, that's the cross drawer there. So you can see that if you were to cut that in half, that's about the size of one of my drawers. So I've got two of those anyway, so we're happy days there. So this is just the start, and I'll probably tag lots of other bits of video on as we transition from this box to this box, because obviously all my attachments are just going to transfer straight across, because I've got Preston attachments, and they'll all have, I've got loads of 30mm adapters anyway, so I'll be able to just take the square ones out and put the 30 ones on, not a problem. Might have some issues with, because this leg I've extended and that back leg I've extended. These ones don't come quite as high as I like them, because I like to have them as high as possible. Maybe we can go on an extension for those, I don't know. Any other concerns I have at this moment? Obviously my keep net bar won't fit, because I've got my own made one, so I'll either have to remake it, or I might treat myself to the Preston bar and have a look at that in the tackle shop and see whether it's right for me. Right guys, it's taken me about 10 minutes to get this Absolute stripped down to its frame. You can see there's a couple of screws here, this one, and there's also some more at the back. There's three at the back there. There's only two on mine. There was one there and one there. This one was missing. Whether the previous owners took it out, whether it was missed at the factory, it wouldn't matter. Four would be fine. There's a little piece of plastic at the back that also had three screws in, all from underneath, all with a normal, you know, quasi-dry screwdriver. Took me no time at all, and I've just took the legs out, slackened them off, just dropped them out. Obviously all the drawers and everything I've just clipped off, because they all just come off quite simple. And I've taken the strap off, so now I'll clean that and get that nice and really sparkling. They've got the non-marking leg system on there, so I'll have to be careful. I think it might come all the way off, so I can wash it nice. I don't know, I think it might do. Yeah, it will do probably. I'll put it all in the sink and try and get it all sparkly and new looking. Well, it's got some thread on it, that hasn't it? Jeez, 9 foot long. But yeah, that'll be handy. Probably a bit tricky to probably line them back up. I don't know how they work, but I think they're quite simple. So, yep, That's all the bits you can get off there. They seem to be sort of riveted on them. I don't want to take them off anyway. They're just threads that go all the way through. No point messing about with a bubble. So it's just going to be a clean it up job. Take it in the sink, get a nice good soapy wash, drain it off, bring it back out and put it back together. There's the frame just drying in the sun. I've just dropped it on my deck here. The sun's just coming around now. So hopefully, bit of luck. And there's a foot plate. You see the foot plate steaming because I've just literally these have both been in the shower, hot water, loads of soap, loads of washing up liquid, and a little bit of Scotch-Brite, and that's it. We just brought them up nice. Well, I've took the telescopic part. This is the telescopic piece that comes out the bottom of the leg. They will be marked on this model. It's not a markless feature, and most of the telescopic legs on the Absolute range, even the new ones, this is how they work. They've just got the just a round piece, and there's a flat, and the thread goes onto the flat. But I'm not worried about that. I can give that a little rub with some sandpaper just to take the nasty bits off, but I'm not really worried about it. What I want to have a look at is this. These are tight. You can hear them. I'm picking up on the camera, the noise. And crunchy. There's all bits of crap in there. So while I'm doing the box, giving it its one-time treatment before I start using it and abusing it, I'm going to take this screw out of here. So on this side there's an eyelock nut which is held inside the plastic, so it's sort of encapsulated in there. I don't know if it will fall out when we take the screw out. It probably shouldn't, but it might. And so what we've got to do, screwdriver. You ain't got to hold the other side because it's encapsulated. You just got to back it off, and eventually you should be able to eventually pull it out once it's clear of the thread. It looks like it is. So now it's just a case of, I might have to get some pliers on there and just give it a... Is it still coming out when I screw it? Maybe the thread will bring it out sometimes. Yeah, it's still bringing it out of the thread. So the thread's catching on the plastic and now it's actually screwing itself out, which is handy. Saves me forcing it. I just want to take one apart just to show you, and then I'll repeat this process on all of them. I'm just going to go and take them into the kitchen sink and just wash them all nice and clean, dead quick. Then bring them back and put them back together. I might put a little bit of lube in the ball joint, but it's one of them. I'm not sure how much useful a bit of grease will be, because it will just hold dirt, the grease will. So it might be better to leave them dry. And the grease holds the dirt and you get the same problem anyway. As you can see, it a pair of pliers, this would be a lot easier, I feel. Okay, playing that game, are we? It's not actually a thread, it's just that the thread's quite tight. So there you are. There's a thread, it's just threaded right at the end. Because that thread's actually slightly bigger than the pin, it's obviously catching all the way through. It's just catching on the thing. So all you've got is a hole that runs right through the middle. You can just see it there. And then a ball. So I just want to clean the ball out, clean that, put it back together. Make sure you don't lose your nut. That's it. I'm going to do that for all six. I'm not going to video it all. What's the point? Catch you in a minute. Welcome back, guys. Right, so we've now got a washed, cleaned leg. Cleaned everything. It's got the telescopy bit in the end. I'm not messing about with these too much. I don't see any point. Just going to leave them as they are. But I've been thinking about, we put that into there, should we put lube on it or not? The engineer in me says, yeah, you should be lubricating this because it's a moving part, two dry parts moving against one another. But then I had the thought, hang on a minute, if I start banging loads of grease in there, and then these legs go into the water because I'm fishing just in the margin, and I put the legs into the water, then I'm putting grease into the water. I thought that's probably not advisable. So what I'm doing as a compromise, good old-fashioned bit of Vaseline. I'm sure some of you big boys out there carry a big tub of it. I've just got a little bit on my finger, and I'm just coating the inside of the socket. That's it. If you're putting loads in, you're wasting your time, and things are being lubricated. You just want the tiniest film between them, and then, like I say, you still don't really want loads of Vaseline getting into lakes. So, but it's better than like an oil or anything like that. So then, literally, you've got to line up the groove. So make sure you clean all that groove out. because if there's any crap in there, when you put the screw through, you'll just knock the crap straight back into your joint. That groove's got to line up across the hole, so you just have to kind of look down, see if you can line it up by eye, roughly. And then you might find that your screw will be a bit of a tight fit just in the first bit till you get it lined up. You might need your pliers just to wiggle it through. That's it, just tap it in, and once it's in, make sure you've still got your nylon nut in place. See, if you push too hard like that, it will come out the back, so just be careful of that, but it don't matter, as long as it's in a little bit and just tighten, it'll pull that back in. See, it's pulling it back in. And then you really want to tighten it till there's a bit of Vaseline just coming out there, so that's nice. And then you want to tighten it so that you can just see the end of the screw coming out, so then you know it's definitely caught the nylon-y bit on the nut, which is designed to stop it from coming undone. And you'll feel the difference between that and how it was before you did that. And that's enough just to give it a bit of, I mean, I've used it a couple of times, it's just going to go back to how it was, but you'll see what I mean. If you do this, it's so grindy when you do it, but then when you put a bit of Vaseline in there and just, that's like a new one now, and that's what you want. Right everyone, I'm moving on to the clips. These clips these are not the maglock ones, and the latest versions have a maglock where there's a little bit of a magnet in there that stops them coming undone. These are quite tight, so I don't feel like that's going to be an issue for me. I've already taken one off and they look like this. You get left and right ones. This is a right one, obviously this is a left one. Now the right one I took it off just to see how it worked. This one I want to have a look. He doesn't really want to come undone, he seems to be really tight. I was wondering if there's any damage or if I can work out what's going on in there. So all you've got to do is take it off. If you've got one of these older setups from Preston, is in there. There's this little screw on the end, if you can see him on the camera there, right at the end of the screwdriver there. Let me get you in shot. You may or may not be able to see that, and you'll be surprised that little screw, you can actually use a screwdriver sort of that size on it. So all you've got to do is take that screw out. I know that you can't see me doing that on the camera, but I'll move to there so you can see I'm doing something. I'm just going to take the screw out because there's no point me trying to do it on camera anyway, because the lighting's not right and you won't see it anyway. Be very careful not to lose that screw. Grabbing it with my pliers so I don't lose it. The screw is actually, that's how big it is. Very small screw, and then what you get is the little cap. This little cap's on the end. On the previous one it didn't fall off, so he had to sort of flick it off, it sort of clipped on. But this one's slightly damaged, so it might be a little bit looser. And then you pull the other part off, and then this is what you get. So when it's screwed together, it's like this. And that's all there is to it. So that's why I couldn't understand why that was catching, and I can see now why it was catching. Just there's a little broken piece, look. So that little broken piece was obviously catching every now and again and not uncatching and causing problems and not letting me open it very easy. But once I took that off, that piece went away, so then it would open. So that's what's caused the problem. So I can break that piece off because it's useless now, and I'll put this back together, and I've fixed, sorted the issue with that clip. The only issues I can see with those clips is going to be if they get dirty or anything. I don't feel like there's any point in sort of going around lubing them all, because I think it'll be a waste of time. Maybe a spray or some silicone spray, not WD-40s don't really work that well. WD-40 for lubricate is more of a water displacer than it is a lubricant, but a little bit of spray with some silicone in it be nice, especially on that piece. And that piece, that's the piece that slides back and forward, and that's the piece. That piece kind of sits. There's like a. See that? See, I'm going to use a screwdriver. This piece here, this square, there's a piece with a hole in it. There's two pieces with a hole in. This one and this one. This one's like more of a rounded triangular shape, and this one's quite square. The square one is where that goes in. When it's on, you can't see that square one. But if you squirt some lube up there, if you get your lubricant in line with the metal shaft and squirt up, you'll be onto that shaft. You'll be squirting onto it. So just like squirt just above it, that angle, and into there, and you'll have put a little bit of lube on there if that's something that you want want to do. So let's just see if my theory is right then. If I put that back on there now, try not to lose this blooming screw, it's very, very small. I'm hoping that I'm doing this in shot, yes I am. Don't over tighten this, obviously it's a very small screw, and you'll just strip the thread really easy. There we are, we've got a nice firm clip, but it's moving, it weren't moving before. It's not lining up, probably because I've got stuff in the middle that's not letting me close it properly. Take that out for a second because it's just fallen out of position. There we are, beautiful now. Wasn't doing that before, but it is now. Okay guys, I'm going to go around the box and make sure there's no other problems with the clips. Like I say, I'm not going to take them all apart. I feel like I'm just making work for myself. Although having said that, I might take them all apart because I might just want to clean all of these to the nth degree. I don't know yet, see how I feel, but it's up to you if you want to do that when you're doing it. You know how to take them apart now. This is metal, this all feels like it's metal. It's really cold, so it's definitely metal. So it'll all clean up nicely with in the sink with a bit of emery cloth, and not emery cloth, just a bit of just use the sponge, you know, the sponge with a scouring pad on it at home. Job done. Cheers. Hello everyone, we're starting to put things back together. So we've got the frame that we cleaned all up. Not too bad. The plastic bits probably could have come a bit cleaner if I'd spent a bit more time on them, but I just know they're going to be muddy in the first week or two anyway, so it's just an opportunity to clean this down and, you know, inspect it while I'm doing it, make sure there's no hidden problems. So the first thing that we've got to do is put that back on to there, and that went on like that. So I'm hoping that you can see it on the camera. So we've got this plasticky piece with Preston Innovations embossed on it, and it's, you know, 3 screws into the bottom, and it sits at the back. This is the back of the frame, the top of the back of the frame. This is, and it sits there like that, and it's like a seal between that and the base of the box, and it just stops crap from getting down the back. Then it just looks nice rather than having a gap, I suppose. That's probably what I've done it for. The easiest way to do that will be to flip it on its back, turn it a little, try and find a spot where you can roughly see what's going on. And then I've got to get me 3 little black screws. So I add just 3 little black screws. I'll just start the middle one because that will probably be the one that's easiest for me to see what's going on. Not going to do them up really tight, or always leave a little bit of slack so that when you're trying to line up your other nuts and bolts, then you can tighten them all up at the end. Otherwise, if you tighten it up, you can tighten it in a position where you just can't find, you just can't align your screw and your thread. You just can't align it. It's not so bad when you've got a little plastic thing like this, but it's a good practice to get into your building of things. Because it will catch you out eventually, especially if you're doing metal things. Look at that, I'm not happy with that one on the end there. Maybe this is coming out of the camera, guys. It's very hard for me to show you this. I'm on my own. I don't feel like that one's gone in right. That's better. I can just see it better from this angle. I'm sorry if you guys can't, but it's just 3 screws screwing a piece of plastic. All you will have taken this out yourself, so you'll know. Right, so next I've got to find the next piece, which is the main base unit, which is down here somewhere. Give me a second. Here he is, still a little bit wet. It's hard to get stuff to dry. I mean, it's literally probably not got above 5 degrees today, so it's not going to be an easy day for drying things. So it seems like this is the only tray that's not interchangeable on my box. Something I've learned already about the box. So this tray has got a solid bottom, it's got screw holes in it. It has to sit at the bottom because it's the only one that you can screw on. So you can see these screws here are already sticking through. This isn't ideal, but that's just what they want to do. For some reason, they seem to be very tight fit. Much rather they were nearly only just sticking through, so that'll make lining it all up and a bit easier. That's nice. So obviously these self-tapper screws are actually just picking up on the aluminium framework a bit as well. This little bit of aluminium framework. The threads are obviously just catching on it. And just get them started. You can actually use those as a little guide. And there's some screws holes underneath. Again, you'll know where they are if you took it all apart. I just want to start them like I said before. Not do them up tight until we've got all of the screws in that we need in. So we took the back ones off now. What happened with this one before was I feel like this should have 5 screws in. It should have one there, and one there, but it only seemed to have one in the middle and one at the end. I would rather personally have one at each end, not one in the middle. So if that's doable, can't see at the moment, a bit easy to go by on it. Look, it might be. I've already started. Which is nice. Maybe that screw fell out over time, or somebody's worked on this in the past, left it out, just couldn't line it up, I forgot about it. Oh, why did that just catch on? Oh, it's just catching on that rubber piece. So that rubber piece sits between the 2 hinges. So you can see the rubber piece sits between the 2 hinges. So he was probably just not quite catching on there properly. He seems to be perfectly lined up now. I can see the line in the hole, so we're all good. Again, I'm hoping that this is coming out on the camera. Got the camera on as wide a shot as I can. So now I've got me all my screws started, I can tighten them all up. So there we are. We now have the bottom of our. Now I think looking at this, that obviously had some double-sided sticky tape. That's obviously how Preston built it, because this side's stuck in still. So they form like these little pieces, they form like little housings that you can keep long things like floats or winders in, things like that. But they also, this part acts as the guide for the drawer, because there's a big front drawer on the bottom of this box which we're about to just slot in, so you can see it. Just drying things up. I've run out of time to let things dry naturally now, so I've just got to try and make it happen. Just giving stuff a quick wipe down. So the drawer slots in like so, and slides back and forward, and then he's magnetic at the back, and when you press him, he pops off. So after we screwed the bottom piece on, you saw me screwing the bottom piece on, just clipped all the rest of the sections on as they do. You know, there's nothing new about the clip systems on this. It's not a new box or anything, so you should have seen them, but they clip like that and then they're undone, they clip like that and they're done up. So it's had a good clean now. It's looking in pretty good condition for a box of its age. I shall bolt the legs back in and put the foot plate back on, and we're ready to go. Ready to rock and roll. Put some gubbins in it. Right guys, here we are. We've got the two boxes side by side and we're going to start transferring stuff over.